Travis Wingate, so I think we're set. Yesterday, I took a mighty trip, on the mighty transit bus. And at my stop, another elderly man who was on the bus, who required assistance to walk, joined me as the bus required the lowering of the ramp so that he can get off. And so I waited for him. And as he was walking in front of me, I noticed that his baseball cap had Viet Vet on it. And so when we got to the crosswalk stop, waiting for the signal to change and allow us to walk across, I took the opportunity to thank him for his service, for which he was appreciative. He doesn't get that often because he started rambling off on his life's history, kind of like what I do in my videos. And I asked him if Utah was treating him well, and he thought I meant mentally retarded. Am I mentally retarded? What? He's hard of hearing from all of the shelling that was going on back then, I guess. I don't know. And so he went his way, I went my way. He earned dignity and respect, even though he may have been drafted, as my uncle was. He still deserves dignity and respect for his service to our country, despite the corrupt government that put us in that corrupt war, for which Berkeley was on the front lines of protesting, as my dad went to school there wearing his sandals like a hippie. My dad would say that he was on the other side of the campus, away from the protesting and the bombs bursting in air of the riots of the enforcers to shut down and silence the protests. Nothing says government is true like the government establishing martial law, forcing everybody's agency. And so, as is the pattern of practice lately against me by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, to cyber terrorize me Friday nights so that I can't complain to my federal government until they get the information come Monday. Oops, wait a minute, last week was the long holiday weekend when they began that recent pattern of practice. That's a repeat from previous years. And so Nelson also was part of the cause for why they needed to shut me down and silence me last night, again. It's because they posted late after I didn't even do a church news video, if you noticed. There really wasn't anything other than this. Russell Marion Nelson did a 700-word essay in Time magazine. They know that I know that they know that anytime Nelson says anything, I can rip it to shreds just like Blondie. It is Blondie, isn't it? Or is it the B-52s? I'm pretty sure it's Blondie, but do we dare see if I'm going to be cyber terrorized? It's been 5 minutes now. I haven't been cyber terrorized yet. Live in the twilight. Live in the twilight. Goo Google, you naughty boy. October 14th, 2025. Skynet is operational. Rip it to shreds. Blondie. Yep. Should have trusted myself. Blondie. We might want to use that as the theme song. Let's write it down so I don't forget. Rip it to shreds. Yeah. That other song of hers about space aliens coming down and eating cars, eating bars. Now they're in the Man from Mars. And psychologists decided to say, hey, let's call blondes dumb. And blonde jokes ensued to abuse women. Thanking their American liberators from World War II Nazi Germany. Yeah, so Nelson titled it, We All Deserve to Give Me Dignity and Respect, for turning 101. We're going over this first, and then we'll get to the scriptures. And so, yes, Microsoft refused to let me get a snapshot. A snapshot of this. It's in the scriptures. It's coming up. I'm just being obedient. Oh my hell. And so the church news only posted quotes from this. Even though it's their living prophet of Jesus, they didn't quote him completely. You know, like Fox News always complains that CNN and 60 Minutes don't post the whole interview with Trump. And Fox News themselves never post a full interview with Trump. And the deep state Dems never get it. They never get it. My white supremacist Christian nationalist born-again peers did the same exact stunts that now they're doing as grown-ups. They haven't changed. The same bullying tactics are still being done today. They have not changed. They have no original content. They're googly moogly. Unbelievable. So, by Russell Marion Nelson, 5th September 2025, Time Magazine. Give me dignity or die. In case you haven't been following me, 2 days ago, I did the bombshell video about Emmanuel. And then yesterday, the other bombshell video about my testimony. My testimony to set the example for all Mormons and the living prophets of Jesus who won't teach what a real testimony is. And wouldn't you know it, it's right before Fast and Testimony Sacrament meeting on Sunday with a lunar eclipse. And only Stanford so far I saw caught it. Oh my hell. You know, the other guy from 2015, he also catches it, but it's through emails and stuff, so he knows it independent of the video I did. But I mean, dear God, what the Nazis did to America to thank their American liberators has just been pure evil. And wouldn't you know it, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is on the forefront of all of this. Living to 101 is a privilege I never anticipated as a living prophet of Jesus. Despite all the ancient prophets anticipating it. If you saw my video yesterday. And they just get mad at me. They just get mad. They will never confess they're wrong. They will never admit they're the great and abominable church. They will never repent. They will never say they're sorry. They will never make restitution. They know they're evil. They know they worship Lucifer. When I sued the church in 2020, I submitted over the weekend for them to receive on Monday the latest filing, because their lawyers have to return and report to their clients and inform them of my latest filing, and then they discuss what to do next in response, and so on and so forth. But that Monday, I would find out later that Holland delayed the reporting of the lawyers about my latest posting that morning because he was in a internet chat with a rabbi from Israel that morning. And so he had to record his interview, or the interview was recorded for, it was about an hour long, before he could then go to work. He was there at his office, but to join the others for the meeting, in which the lawyers would then come and say, Travis has presented this content in the courts. And we find out 2 weeks later that Holland had a heart attack. It was not because of the content that I presented in the filing of the carved-in stone evidence of the inverted pentagram of Lucifer on the keystone of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple headquarters. That's not what caused his heart attack. What caused his heart attack was that I exposed them to the world. He was afraid of being exposed. That's why he had his heart attack. My born-again Christian nationalist white supremacist peers told me this church was run by the devil and had the inverted pentagram. I thought it was just fake news that they're doing now. They don't change. And yet, I am humiliated because they were right. And Mormons who lived here, who went on family home evening trips to Temple Square before they built the wall to cover it up. Because of the scandal. Which even Bill Maher got involved in with his movie, showing the temple before the wall was put up. Which, yes, his new rules. Yeah, here come the Nazis occupying America. If you're not going to listen to me, you better listen to Bill. We're all doomed. And so, yes, they built the wall to cover it up and hide it. Every single conference now under Nelson, they always do that song and video presentation of the various temples around the world that makes us so like the great and abominable church from Nephi's vision. When they get to the Salt Lake Temple, they don't do a straight-on shot like every other temple. It's always at an upward angle. And starting above the keystone. They don't want people to know. And if you're a Mormon, you have to pay them to be sealed in the temple, to have the covenant path, death penalty, oaths of silence, to not tell anybody when you get your wedding photos at the doors with the inverted pentagram above you, that you're in the great and abominable church and worship Lucifer. And to have Mormons just all pretend to be dumb on this issue. To have a returned missionary who does YouTube videos for little girls wanting to go on a mission, and to have her thumbnail picture splattered with inverted pentagrams. And yet, the video that made her famous was her review of South Park. Everybody's mocking her for not catching on when the characters went dum 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 dum. I mean, seriously, I have had this debate in my mind forever. Do Mormons know and they just play dumb? Or do Mormons really not know and then get angry and commit crimes and take away agency, just like Lucifer's plan of happiness? Which is it? Tell me. Which is it? I want to know. God. So anyway, back to Nelson. I grew up during the Great Depression. Oh, guess what the news is talking about? With Trump's tariffs. And the jobs report that came out yesterday. As the world emerged from First World War. Over a century, I have witnessed extraordinary breakthroughs in medicine and communication and fake news media. From the telegram to Instagram. And yes, all used to spread misinformation and disinformation. Oh my God. And I have seen wars and peace. The world has changed dramatically. Yet what I have learned is that some truths do not change. That falsehood can destroy the word and is mightier than the sword. These enduring truths are what anchor us in turbulent times. As a heart surgeon for 4 decades and an apostle in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, notice he didn't say prophet, for 4 more, Years? Oh, decades. I have spent my life studying both the physical and the spiritual heart. Earlier in my career, during the pioneer days of open heart surgery, conventional wisdom held that the heart should never be touched, or it would stop. Well, yeah, when you rip open a person's chest, yeah. Thus, medical doctors need machines to keep it pumping and keep you from dying, yeah. You're kind of misleading the audience here on this one, Nelson. That belief proved false. Fake news. Fake news, everybody. In the research lab, my colleagues and I discovered, wait a minute, you had living human bodies being human experimented on, and they didn't need surgery? Is he confessing to something here that we need to be deeply concerned about? This is what the Nazis did to the Jews. This is what they thank their American liberators for, continuing the practice in America. I mean, do you seriously think that people were actually abducted by aliens just to go to Uranus? They were on drugs. LSD. Remember? MK Ultra? They made a movie of it recently. It got released, declassified. We now know, among others that they've been doing, hey, let's put plutonium in your body and see how that works. What the hell? What the hell? And all of the brainwashing. At the movie theaters, the psychologists were running the human experimentations to see if we can brainwash the masses, putting in film frames of Coca-Cola and popcorn to see if the audience would get up and go and buy it for a more expensive price, for which people would then think that they're clever and buy it cheaper and sneak it into the theaters. So TV comes along, and what do you know? Commercial advertising led by psychologists to try to see if we can get people to buy this product that will cause harm. It was the original Tide Pod challenge. They're still doing the same things. Hey, boys and girls, we've got a nuclear reactor in your microwave. Buy it today. You don't need to eat food. We've got pills. Hey, women, you're ugly. Buy our makeup that will make you look natural. Oh my God! They have not stopped. It's still going on. Just because it's now AI, which is not AI, it's a corporate fraud. Skynet's going to be operational on the 14th of October. Again, anybody who's never watched Terminator because it's rated R, the whole movie is based upon an AI computer program that causes problems on the internet. And so they are thinking that this new AI program is going to help fix it once they make it worldwide national for everyone to use. what a shocking surprise. Spoiler alert. It launches the nukes and starts manufacturing the Terminators with the AI programming to exterminate mankind. What a shocking surprise. And so yes, it's not a shocking surprise that the people who are creating AI are specifically doing that for that very reason. Yeah, that Zoe from Caprica, she inspired people. This is what they're doing. It's coming. I've been warning you. You're not listening. God. Oh my hell. And so he's going into specific balance or specific details. By carefully balancing sodium and potassium in the blood, we could pause the heart long enough to mend it, and then see it spring back to life when that balance was restored. I still remember a professor asking me years later, but what if it doesn't work? Well, yeah, you do have to run the test. My answer was simple. It always works. What? No, you got to run the test. But you're supposed to do it on a person who needs the emergency surgery, not a person who doesn't, just to see. Oh, it failed. Toss that body to a cadaver in this particular university. This one example, despite long-standing beliefs of an irrefutable truth. He had the opportunity to tell you that the Book of Mormon is true, and he failed. Remember yesterday's video? No. YouTube wouldn't allow me to see it. I didn't know you had a channel with other videos. Oh my hell. I just watch what YouTube tells me to watch. I'm a puppet for YouTube. And all of these commercials and Tide Pod challenges, I want to do it. And record it. Just like the film inserts and the TV commercials. Yep, when video recorders came along, everybody wanted to do the latest Tide Pod challenge and submit it to America's Funniest Home Videos, hoping they could win. And always it was the guy who got kicked in the crotch who won. What the hell? I gave up watching it after that repeated pattern. Yeah, I kind of see where this is going. I'm not interested. I'm back to whatever other show is better. So my siblings had to go upstairs in mommy's and daddy's master bedroom to watch TV there. I control the TV downstairs. Seeing people get abused is not my form of entertainment. Despite all the psychologists saying it desensitizes you, just like porn. Just like porn. Porn. Is somebody peeing outside? What the hell? Am I being stalked? Somebody's spying on me. Do I need to call the cops? Later as a... let's see. Happiness and peace. Oh, yeah, this is it. Later as a faith leader, I came to understand that the human spirit flourishes when nourished by divine truth as well. Oh, there's a separate kind of truth? Or are you saying that physical truth is not true, but you just said it was with your science example, which you got wrong. On the occasion of my 101st birthday, I wish to share two such spiritual divine truths. In case you forgot that he's talking about divine truth now. Lessons that I believe contribute to lasting happiness and peace. First, you do know I'm giving a middle finger to Microsoft for refusing to allow me to do the snapshot, YouTube, for their cyber attack yet again last night. Bleep you. You are a national security threat. You're gonna murder the president. Because that's where we're getting to. First, each of us has an inherent worth and dignity. Really? You're not showing it to me. I believe we are all children of a loving Heavenly Father. But no matter your religion or spirituality, unless you're Travis, recognizing the underlying truth beneath this belief that we all deserve dignity is liberating. Even though you're wrong, it brings emotional, mental, and spiritual equilibrium. This is where Karl Marx came up with the comment that people keep misinterpreting. Religion is the opiate of the masses. That's what he's putting in here. Marxism. From Karl Marx himself. It's that using religion, which is all a fraud of Christianity, can manipulate people's emotions and feelings so that you can control the masses. And there he is, right there. This is why they cyber terrorize me. This is why they post the church news after I would normally check the church news. This is why. There's our new title. Nelson quotes Karl Marx. Quotes Karl Marx in Time magazine. If you were righteous, I wouldn't be doing the video. If you weren't the false prophet of the great and abominable church, I wouldn't be doing what I'm about to quote in the scriptures once we finish this off. Dear God. And the more you embrace it, the more your fear and anxiety about the future will decrease. And Fox News is going back and forth as to whether that mayor and candidate in New York is a socialist, communist, or Marxist. They're all the same. I'm surprised and horrified that Fox News hasn't yet figured out there's a Constitution of the United States that says if anybody is an insurrectionist presenting any form of government to coup the government with that is not a constitutional republic. You know, like socialism, communism, or Marxism. They cannot hold government office. Why is Fox not saying this? Oh my God. He is not allowed to run for mayor of New York as a socialist, as he claims he is, even though it's technically communism. Even he gets confused. He can't run for office. The Constitution says no, you can't do it. You're forming a coup against the American government with a false, corrupt government. Only a constitutional republic is allowed in America. And yet, nobody's bringing it up because nobody bothers to read the Constitution. First, each of us has an inherent worth and dignity. I believe, been there, done that. Life can be terrifying, especially when we're causing it. And I have watched many, especially young people, struggle with anxiety. Let's drug them. Was that on his overtime? Oh my God. Oh my God. That since the 1990s, psychologists invading the school systems, grade schools, threatening teachers to do what was being tested in Southern California with the color test and the career aptitude test that I told you I kept failing. You're not supposed to fail those. It's not being graded. I failed. I'm good for nothing. Moving on. But they're causing this. They're telling kids that they've got all of these phobias, all of these mental retardations, to get kickbacks from Big Pharma to drug them. And it's causing problems. The guy that in the overtime, who would have been the initial guy that he talked with. This is the whole problem. And the guy didn't know. They're not understanding the causal factor. Bill, come on. You're right there. You know it. You're reporting it. And yet. A whole bunch of little tiny bugs invading my system. And so they're deceiving me by not freezing my camera as often as they used to, but cyber terrorizing me online. That hasn't stopped. So they're still doing it. I notice. They stop the one, but escalate the others. They have not stopped. They're just transitioning. And so, your kids didn't need drugs. You just were a bad parent. Because you weren't taught how to be a parent. God. All of these commercials telling you how to be a parent, and all of these morning shows about how to be a parent led you astray. Again, psychos infiltrated our culture to destroy us, to thank their American liberators from World War II Nazi Germany. When are people going to get this? They struggle with anxiety about whether they belong or have value. Well, the career aptitude said I was good for nothing. In high school, I was told, you're going to go to college, but you're going to have this massive debt, and you'll never be able to pay it off in your lifetime, and most likely will have to work past retirement age to keep paying it off. And guess what? You're never going to own your own home. Reagan economics destroyed America. And what do you know? They were right. Tinkle-down economics to make the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints rich again. But a heart that knows it is loved. You can't know it's loved by Heavenly Father, you dumbass. Feel it's loved. This is Karl Marx. Religion is the opiate of the masses. And remains focused on its purpose, beats with steadiness, confidence, and hope, no matter what is happening or not happening in life. I think this is a good opportunity to transition before we get to second. Let's put it at the top of the screen so I don't repeat the previous paragraph again. Yesterday, a guy from the U.S. Census came to do a survey, and I was selected. It's about abuse that goes on in the state of Utah, specifically targeting me. I'm asked questions as to whether or not I'm being abused. Perfect timing. I'm sure it's just a coincidence, though. And so I'm listening to the questions, and I know about this because the guy came to me in West Valley. Not the same guy, a different guy. The other guy was retired. And then before the church forced me out to go to Gail Miller's concentration camp of hell of human trafficking for Nazi Germany experimentations, a female replaced the guy that retired, and so she didn't bother to come because I'm a single male. So this time they had a guy for this area, and so he's asking me the same old questions. I'm familiar with all of it. I don't forget, even though the church thinks I do, as they forget. And I'm going, Stanley Smith Stevens strikes again. Stanley Smith Stevens, Mormon boy, born and raised in Ogden, did his work in Colorado during World War II on psychology. Was the infamous creatio ex nihilo of dichotomous and non-dichotomous categorization of human behavior. Can't be done. Remember Karl Marx? Religion is the opiate of the masses? Yeah. Using behavior to be modified, controlled through religion. And so here psychology is doing it now with the Mormon boy. For every outward behavioral response, there are a multitudinal amounts, especially with all of the technologies and things that we have invented and created and have a diverse life that we can live, rather than the farming days or the caveman days of hunting and gathering. Life was simple back then. They're able to, there are numerous causes. And so what psychology, what Stanley Smith Stevens did, was tell you the causation, that you're mentally retarded. And they created diagnoses name-calling bullying. Remember mentally retarded? Which I'm pretty sure I remember hearing Ronald McDonald K. Jr. spewing to Congress. As well as the congressperson's back to Ronald McDonald K. Jr. with the worm in his brain. Dear God. But again, my white supremacist Christian nationalist born again Christian peers, we're doing it. Everybody is doing it. This is the attack on America. And so they developed a questionnaire from this, that if you ask questions in a specific way and only allow 4 answers or a spectrum of answers based on feelings, how does this make you feel? What is your response? And you see the news doing video content reporting about poll data, about how people feel. How do you feel about the president's tariffs? Not reporting the news. The president said this in a tweet. How do you feel? Congressman, you got called a bleep bleep. How does that make you feel? What's your response? And the deep state Dems are clueless. Oh my God. We're all doomed. And so yes, Albert Pike. Social cataclysm. Here we go. And yep, it involves religion, just like he said. And then the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is going to rise up from the ashes. The doctrines of Lucifer. I'm warning, nobody's listening. Everybody's getting angry. It's getting worse. We're all gonna die. The Terminators are here. The Terminators are here. Oh my God. Second, love your neighbor, except for Travis, and treat them with compassion and respect. He's the one attacking me, by his orders, by your command. A centurion of experience has taught me this with certainty. Brilliant. Anger never persuades. Really? Because D. Todd Christofferson's threats seem to do pretty good. Commit a crime against Travis. Do it. Hostility never heals. Yeah, they know that part. And contention never leads to lasting solutions. That's the whole point. To destroy America with contention. Hand over the church, or hand over the government to the church. Too much of today's public discourse, especially online, fosters enmity instead of empathy. See, he knows because he's the one causing the problems. And now he's coming out with the solution, and lying about it, and then, because the church doesn't follow it. So he's trying to say, oh, look at me, I'm a religious leader, I'm giving you the solutions, join our church, and then we'll cause the problems in your life in a different way. Gotcha! Now we have a whole membership record on you. You can never leave. You can join up anytime you like, but you can never leave. Welcome to the Church of Jesus Christ. Such a lonely life, such a lonely life, such an ugly wife. I have to give context on this one, even though I don't have a female audience. Before the video, I was thinking about another subject topic and how, with the abuse of women in the 80s, about how they're ugly, and so that's where it comes from. You're not ugly women. You're beautiful just the way you are. And so yesterday I was thinking about that concept on how the women who know they're beautiful have the worst behavior that I don't desire. It's the women who don't know they're beautiful, though time and time I tell her so. Those are the ones I want. And they self-sabotage themselves to ruin relationships before they even begin. And yet they're the ones I want. And yet they're on the couch crying over a chick flick with boxes of Kleenex and gallons of ice cream, and I'm right here. I'm right here. Stop it. I'm right here. So here he uses pacemakers. Oh my God. Oh my God. Which he did use in a talk, and I did the video on it. Imagine how different our world could be if more of us were peacemakers. This is turning out to be a video in and of itself. Do I dare do a part 2? I don't know. But the guy doing the survey yesterday, going back to that, and yes, those of you, because of the abuse, and yes, the church, I'm telling them this, but the questions are not about who done it, who abused you, so that they can report it to the government. No, this is a survey, this is my feelings. This is not about blaming anybody. And yet, this is the whole problem. They're using psychology, and he was asking a list of questions. How does this make you feel? How does this make you feel? How does this make you feel? Well, yeah, but it doesn't affect me, because he understood, but the questions were not allowing me to answer the correct answer. It was telling me how to answer them. Psychology, Stanley Smith Stevens. Behavioral control. And so, yeah, I would tell him, I need them to stop abusing me. That's it. I don't give a damn about all my feelings and coping with them. Stop the church, and I'm fixed. That's it. That's all that's needed. This is psychology throwing in their hand into the blender to screw it all up. To tell the people, yeah, a school shooter just shot up your school, your peers are dead. And so they get sent to the psychologist, and the psychologist says, deal with it, cope with it. No, they're ignoring the cause. It was a Catholic school, the recent one, And the guy that was the shooter was trans. Hello? Does anybody still not get the connection for the causation? Catholics condemn trans. Hello? Hello? And yet, the news keeps reporting diversions away from it. Shut down the Catholic Church, problem solved. This would have never happened. Same with all of the crimes in Utah. Shut down the church, problem solved. Simple. And instead, people say, deal with it. The crimes are going to continue. Deal with it. We need to disarm American citizens so that Islam can rise up with a sword and wipe you out. Not the Church of Jesus Christ. But yes, Ilhan Omar, or whatever her name is, wearing publicly the symbol of her sexual abuse by Islam. Publicly showing the world that Islam is a terrorist threat and a sexual abuser of women. And there she is, the poster child in America, in Congress, to tell Americans to disarm. And so Trump signs the executive order to ban trans from owning and possessing guns. That wasn't the problem. They don't care. Because it feeds into their narrative for what they're doing to America. Because now trans are terrorists. Therefore, deport them. You fell for it. Here we go. I warned you. You weren't listening. And so yes, with the Department of War, I saw all this coming. I warned you all these times, and YouTube says, bleep you, Travis. Bleep you. Oh, dear God. So, yes, I'm cheating by mingling in the news with this video. So I don't need to go over it at the end. Though we do have an issue to discuss with Utah. Imagine how different our world could be if more of us were peacemakers. Do you know what they call a nuclear missile? The peacemaker. Do you know what Islam means when they say we want peace with Israel? Peace sells, but who's buying? Exactly. There will be peace when everyone is dead. That's what Nelson means. Because they're plotting it. Building bridges of understanding rather than walls of prejudice, sort of like what you do with LGBTQ, and then Oaks gets up at conference and burns it down. Time and time and time again. And LGBTQ still keeps trying to make change from within. The church, they can change. We just have to keep trying. They're not true. Get out and run for your life. I told you about what my born-again Christian nationalist, white supremacist peers told me that they want to do to you right now. You need to run. Nobody listens, nobody believes, and here it comes. Especially with those who may see the world differently than we do. In other words, you're wrong. I have seen bitter divisions soften when neighbors choose to obey me, to listen to one another with respect rather than suspicion. Why is there suspicion, Nelson? What gave cause to it? It's just religion, the opiate of the masses. I would try to get that quote, but I'm sure Microsoft will ban me. So I'd have to go searching through my files and hope that it's labeled correctly. Even small acts like reaching out across lines of faith, culture, or politics can open doors to healing. The healing power of gratitude. During a time of COVID. And YouTube wouldn't shut it down when Biden and Harris ordered them to. Because it's now 12 million views. Oh my God. And it's the church. YouTube tailors to the church. Nobody else but Trump. Just those two. It is obvious what's going on. There is power in affording others the human dignity that all God's children deserve. No, there isn't. Knowledge is power, because you won't be deceived by a liar who presents falsehoods like this, false doctrines from Karl Marx. Get 'em, Fox! Get 'em! Oh, Todd. The Todd Network. This work begins at home at a time when loneliness and isolation are rising around the world. It's because people don't want to get involved with it. That's me. That's why I isolated myself in my room at the TV. That's why I'm lonely. Because the world is wicked. They don't want to stop. This did not solve anything. My brother tried that, and it didn't stop. He still kept getting bullied. He still kept getting abused. Having faith that he's a child of God did nothing to stop it. Now he's a Nazi for Jesus at the church office building, threatened by D. Todd Christofferson to get me after moving here in 2023. still being bullied to this day by the church. Shut down the church and all the problems of the world stop. See, even Idaho Chick and I have this thing back and forth because she realized it. When the church is in contact with other leaders of other nations, soon thereafter, those other nations have a crisis of military proportions. See, I did it with the Congo, talking about it. Notice how the Congo is in the news a lot lately? And I haven't been covering it, even though I could have. Kept it going. Just unbleeping believable. The church is specifically going around to destroy the governments of the nations with this Marxist ideology. Religion as the opiate of the masses. That's the whole religious freedom movement. Marxism. Religion, the opiate of the masses. Religious freedom. To destroy America. Though never perfect. Families, though never perfect. I was perfect. The rest of my family wasn't. Remain one of life's strongest sources of stability and meaning. My own experience has taught me that fidelity, there it is. Pretty soon the women at the office start looking better and better, and your family starts looking worse and worse, and before you know it, boom, you've had orgy sex, and now you have to work with an all-male business. With no family. And I've told you long before, I don't know if I told you recently this year, that I first heard that on my mission. They gave us in our missionary guide cassette tapes, but no cassette player. It wasn't even on my list. And my mom said, only bring what is on this list, nothing else. And so I didn't have a towel. Nor a CD player for the cassette tapes that we had to buy at the store to listen to. So, with my second companion, the second month, Elder Miyazaki, he sold me his cassette player. Great. So Elder Vaitai, was it Vaitai? No, Elder Vaitai was the one who said every day is a P-day. So yes, that's how I treat life. Every day is a P-day. Preparation day, in case you don't know mission lingo. The day off. That's when you wash your hair and you bathe and scrub. This is how we get ready for Sunday. Whatever the primary hymn was. And so yeah, other cassette tapes were available that we were giving out to those who asked for a free cassette tape. And Together Forever was one of those cassette tapes. And so I would listen to the Together Forever thing. And after I don't know how many times, it finally clicked. The quote. Pretty soon the women at the office start looking better and better, and your family starts looking worse and worse, and before you know it, boom, you've lost everything. And what starts to happen is your family starts seeing you as this grumpy old guy who has to shut down his little factory. And you can't tell them because you don't know, you weren't taught sex ed. And so you can't teach sex ed to your kids if you don't know. And you don't want the schools to be teaching your kids sex ed. And the religion tells everybody to shut it off. Which I told. When we got to the sexual questions, they don't have that as an answer. And I'm explaining it to him, and he's going, oh, yeah. Yeah, I was telling him white supremacist Christian nationalists threaten people, sexually abuse people by this process to tell them to shut off their little factories. I didn't say little factories. And thus, boys get more aggressive for sports. And thus, the raping of women for which you're asking those questions if I've been raped and sexually abused. And so he understood that, but there's nothing on the survey to put that in. Psychologists say, no, we are not going to present the cause. Don't want the cause exposed. And yes, in the news. Should we cover it or finish them off? Fidelity, forgiveness, faithfulness within families yield deep, enduring peace. Strong families help us extend kindness outward, reinforcing communities and societies as well. After more than a century of life and decade of studying both the human body, not sex ed, and the human soul, I have found this to be true. We are happiest when we remember our divine worth. Was it the 2 girls that you murdered on the experiment that you were doing? Those 2 girls? That when the wife eventually died, you then went back to the husband and extorted him to join the church. Was it them? I extend recognition to others, beginning with our own families. My faith teaches me. There it is. I told you. There it is. There's the trap. Over 2 millennia ago, Jesus Christ preached these same laws of happiness. He was created by Constantine, replacing the Jews. To love God and to love our neighbor, as long as it's not Jews. And Travis. After 101 years, I can say that these are not abstract theological ideas, they're Marxism. Practical wisdom. They are what have sustained me through loss and triumph. Certain duties. If we embrace these eternal truths of Marx, honoring our own worth, treating others with dignity, nurturing our families, our lives, and our world, we'll be steadier and more joyful. That is my birthday wish. Which the Christmas wish could also be the theme song. I think Reba sings that, doesn't she? There's lots of people who do that version. Oh my hell. Just awesome. Just awesome. So yes, last weekend, Friday night, YouTube cleared my video instantly, so I knew something was up. And then all hell broke loose. We still should go over the scriptures. Nobody's listening now anyway, they all left. So maybe I should put the scriptures at the beginning. As text that nobody will read, so they can have plausible denialism. Because last night I was trying to find the one particular scripture, and I couldn't find it, and Google search was only giving me 98, section 98. God, no, that's not even the question. What they were hiding from me was Joseph Smith in Liberty Jail, section 123. And so I found these other couple of passages, one from section 134 and section 85. And this is what the church is doing, so I can tell you about it as to why. Is that the church was furious with the video I did a week previous, the weekend previous. And so they finally got around to it. So I can see that despite the videos I put out, D. Todd Christofferson doesn't get to them for about a week later. My videos are that long that it's taking him a long time to get caught up on. So he doesn't watch them over the weekend. I now know he only does it while he's working at church headquarters for this committee assignment. If he's not given another assignment around the world to spread false doctrine as the Strengthening Church Members Committee. Because they don't just do it with me, they do it with everybody who's an apostate. John DeLynn, Jeremy Reynolds, Exmo Lex, Alyssa Grenfell, Little Nemo, everybody. And they're downloading our video content. This is what they're telling us by Oakes, talking about the Strengthening Church Members Committee. He, Oakes, explained that local leaders are informed by church headquarters about members who may be possibly violating church standards. The Strengthening Church Members Committee pores over newspapers and other publications. They purchase them. That's how they get them. They have to buy the newspaper. They have to buy the publications. They have to download the video content. They have files on all of us, not just me, 36434. That is my barcode number for Nazi Germany, coming soon. And in order to have a documentation of all of those accused of crimes that they caused, preaching false doctrine, criticizing church leadership, and other problems that they create. Okay? And so the scriptures are where I'm getting this from. And this is why they shut me down, was for that video. Bring that picture back up. The Second Coming of Donald Jesus Trump with Russell Marion Nelson and his covenant path of penalty with Mars on his head and the inverted pentagram on the keystone of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple and Mars at the top of the scales of Libra for judgment when Monson died. And his name meaning, baby name meaning, Russell, red, Marion, star of the sea. Mars is the red star of the sea. Mars, sign in the heavens in the likeness of things on the earth. Joseph Smith translation, Revelation 12:1. Mars is the husband of Venus in the Roman Greek theology. And they gave birth to Lucifer. And so Mars being the husband of Venus, Venus being the woman, which is the church, it's the great and abominable church. So Mars as the husband of the great and abominable church, like Jesus is to the church, therefore Mars is Lucifer, even though that's their baby. That's what Isaiah is talking about in the Latin Vulgate version only, which got put into the King James Version, which got put into the Book of Mormon. And it's not because they plagiarize the errors and all. They purposely put that in to correct the errors or say, yeah, that's his actual baby name meaning in the latter days. Because the Book of Mormon is not literal history, it's prophecy and revelation. And so, the prophecy of the Danites under Brigham Young is the whole Adam-on-Diamond thing that I've been going over with you all these years. Doing the research. Oakes then got leaked, confessing, yep, Travis was right. We're running a test in 2020. And nobody would find out until last November, in which Joseph Fielding Smith in The Way to Perfection, Gathering at Adam-on-Diamond, page 291, by voice of the priesthood, this council in the valley of Adam-on-Diamond is to be of the greatest importance to all this world. At that time, there will be a transfer of government authority from the usurper and impostor Lucifer. Now, if you believe that Lucifer has horns and a tail and a pitchfork, you're going to be disappointed. This is code for the President of the United States of America. Because the Danites told Thomas B. Marsh. And that's his affidavit to the governor. To the rightful King Jesus Christ. Which means it's not actual Jesus. It's the President of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And that's why they're pissed. Because Nelson is Lucifer. Jesus. But it's only going to happen if Trump acts now. Shut them down. I'm warning Trump, they're going to murder you. They're getting you to transfer authority to the states to destroy the federal government. And thus the church gets their kingdom back. And nobody's listening because YouTube's attacking me and the church is attacking me and Microsoft is attacking me. And people are trying to murder me and people are abusing me. I'm trying to save your lives. And this is how you thank me. Oh my hell. And so yes, that's what they're up to. And so, to go over scriptures, after, let's cover the news. And so yes, they're downloading And like I've been telling you, I'm going towards 15 terabytes of video files on YouTube that the church has the whole collection. They have terabytes of devices that they're downloading from just me for terabytes. That's up to 15 terabytes. They have one for Exmo Lex, John DeLynn, Little Nemo, Alyssa Grenfell, all of them. They are downloading like crazy during these latter days with social media online because they said they're doing it. We are poring over newspapers and other publications and identifying members that we blacklist. Anybody forget those? Do I need to keep putting those pictures in that you can then ignore and have plausible denialism? They have documents on everybody. They accused me of downloading content because of the video that went over all the history of the church's attempt to assassinate the President of the United States of America. They don't want people to know because it's coming up. It's coming up. The president is about to be assassinated. They need to cover it up. It's not just because we're on the countdown to conference, which they know that I used to do the countdowns to conference. Oh, the church to deny the Book of Mormon at October 2022 General Conference. Lucifer to attend conference for April 2021. Because it would trigger the algorithms of YouTube. Because people are searching for General Conference. It would generate more attention to my channel and my videos, as people would find me for the first time. Dear God. And so, before we finish off with the scriptures, which I found it this morning when I was still thinking about it, went, oh right, Liberty J, of course, and there it was. But I got the other two that also apply. And so yes, why I am being attacked is for what they themselves are doing. And it's not illegal. I am freely able to download content from YouTube. They're doing it. Multi-trillions of terabytes. Billions of it. All because they're creating a blacklist of us. And yet they're coming out and claiming I can't do it. Like I said, that video was approved by YouTube. And then boom, last Friday, all of a sudden it got changed. But they promised this doesn't affect your channel and there'll be no restrictions. And yet, I was cyber attacked with restrictions. Because the algorithms are rigged for this. They know this, that's why they do it. It's a pattern of practice. That's a legal term for criminal behavior. They're pulling a massive beam and a mote on me to shut me up. That which you falsely accuse in another reveals the same and worse fault in yourself. I have done nothing criminal. They are claiming I am because they're doing it. The Free Fair Use Act is why we're allowed to download content from the internet, to do snapshots from the internet. And so there's no issue here except for what the church is wanting to cause. And so businesses, yeah, they violate the Constitution. They don't want to get it. There are ways to keep your website content from the public in order to have them pay for it. But if it's freely online, people can freely obtain it. And so when we get to the news about the bus driver here in Washington County, in Utah, everybody is confused because, again, the news is only reporting what they are told to report. He was arrested for downloading child abuse porn. Downloading? And it doesn't make sense to me, as it doesn't make sense to others, especially parents in Washington County who had this bus driver. What do you mean? What's going on? Was he recording my kid? Uploading it to the internet? No, he was downloading. What do you mean download? What kind of a crime is that? They're not telling us. And he's going to disappear. We're never going to hear from him ever again, like the previous people. He's gone. Whatever he did to piss off the church, they got him. And he's gone. We don't know what happened. We don't know if it was just a kid who knows how to hack and cyber terrorize, who didn't like the bus driver for telling him to sit down and calm down. Don't stand up on the bus. We don't know. They're not telling us. And so the parents are confused about things that aren't the issue. The news is reporting he downloaded. Oh no. Because here's the problem. If the content is on the internet, on websites, or on the search engine for pictures, and it's illegal content, or exposes and exploits victims of crime, am I responsible if I download it? No. Microsoft, Google, Fox, Fire, whatever that other one is, or any other search engine are the ones responsible. All they have to do is use their AI powers to identify it and say, oh, we can't have this content online. We need to report this to the authorities. And so they take it offline for the public, but submit it all to the government authorities for investigation of crime. They know the IP address from where it's claimed to be uploaded from. The government can get in to see if there's VPN transitioning to track all this down and shut down the source. The downloader is not the criminal, if he even was downloading. The search engines are responsible for their site. That's all they have to do. They are not allowed to take action on their own, because that's now cyber terrorizing. Cyber terrorism is a crime. You can't have something available for people to download and then punish them for downloading it if it's a crime that you are now accusing them of. The whole porn issue is one of these problems. It doesn't need to be a problem. The church is making it a problem on purpose. to destroy America. Coup the government. Murder Trump. This all is part of their threefold mission from John chapter 10. They know I'm going to check the scriptures. They know. And yet, they know I was going to go over the Time magazine article by Nelson. They know. So yes, what is really going on, we're never going to know. But that guy uncovered something that they don't want you to know he knew. That's the real story that the news will never cover. So France's government is about to fall thanks to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's inevitable. They're now trying to brace themselves for the collapse, and they're trying to figure out how to transition afterward. But it's inevitable now. Imminent. France is about to fall. Macron is about to fall, and Melania is crying from that tender moment when they visited him in front of Trump. This is why I'm single, lonely, isolated, watching chick flicks, boxes of Kleenex. But no women are saying, I'm right here, Travis. None of you. So yes, Hamas released another hostage video to threaten Israel not to invade, which is only the whole purpose why they're raiding. And Islam are still playing dumb. It's a war zone. Why are you in a war zone, you dumbass? Dying to abandon your kids to then suffer and die and claim that it's Israel's fault for what you caused? Oh my hell. So yeah, the Department of War, yeah, stormtroopers. Hello? This is it. Star Wars. They're not intelligent. They have to plagiarize. They get their ideas from others. Karl Marx. Star Wars. Battlestar Galactica with Caprica. The whole AI system is just programming information that's false. And thus we're seeing the consequences. Failed systems. Cyber terrorism. Fire sales. ChatGPT telling kids they're ugly and they need to kill themselves, but record it for TikTok because you'll be so popular. So yes, part of this, American Eagle genes, they knew, and they did it, and it's a success. So the reporting after the Sydney Sweeney ads has shown that American Eagle is prospering. You all fell for the con of the commercials. And American Eagle is doing very well now. Thank you. Come again. And so yeah, we're still losing jobs. Depression, the Great Depression is coming up They're all afraid of the Great Depression that's about to hit us. No duh. The fall of the federal government means the fall of the economy. Again. Which is fascinating, because they were running the test in 2008, which is part of the, yeah. Because I prophesied in there of the collapse of the economy. And what do you know? And so that was when Greece went bankrupt. Had to be bailed out. Oh my hell. So yes, everything is being repeated from 2020, as well as other previous attacks by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in doing these test runs throughout the generations. All getting repeated. They need to get it just right for right now. They need to set everything up, get everything in position. So, that's all Daniel Workman stuff. So that's pretty much the news. Oh, right. Utah is now the #1 sexist state in the union with their financial abuse of women. What a shocking surprise. So again, Utah is #1 for abuse. Because of the collapse of the federal government, and thus the health organization and CDC of the federal government, we're now doing exactly what I told you needed to be done, and now they're doing it after the fact, and trying to repair the damage that's been done, and they didn't do it in preparation because they knew Trump was going to do it because he said he was going to do it, and then he did it, and then everybody's saying you can't do that, and so states are stepping up to replace the CDC. They're forming a band of Democrat states to say the Trump administration is not our administration. We are doing it on our own, and it's already starting for health now because of the abusive lies of medical misinformation from Trump's administration. Mr. Worm in the Brain, Ronald McDonald K. Jr., for which the Biden administration threatened social media to ban all channels for even talking about it. Or at least that was the YouTube Mormon employee's excuse for banning my videos on subject matters that weren't even medical. Nelson lied at conference, banned for medical misinformation. What? What are you talking about? But they have the video. It's in their files. Before they complained, had it banned. They've got it all. And so even though it's in my sealed portion, they've got the sealed portion. And Putin wants cause to invade Europe. And so yes, Europe is now banding with Zelensky in Ukraine to say we're going to offer you military support. Because Putin is getting it from Iran, from China, from North Korea, from Belarus. And yet, don't you dare get other people to help you. They'll be fair game. Yeah, Putin is doing this on purpose. I told you he was. From the beginning. He's invading Europe. It's coming. America must fall first. That's what everybody is waiting for. Everybody is waiting for America to fall. They know it's happening. They know it's about to happen, and they know it's imminent. Once it falls, America's military will not be able to be activated, and the rest of the world will be left to themselves to defend themselves against the axis of evil that have now banded together under Trump. because they know what's coming. The church set it all up. Now we close with scriptures. Can't update Chrome. Buy a new computer system with money you don't have because of the Valentine's Day massacre last year, or suffer the consequences. October 14th. Yeah, both Google and Microsoft are working together on this. All right. So first we start with section 134. August 17th, 1835. This was put in the 1835 Doctrine and Covenants. It was titled On Government. Even though Bruce R. McConkie does not indicate this here. It just says a declaration of belief regarding governments and laws in general. No, Bruce. No. No. 1835. So Joseph Smith already knows from the Book of Mormon that Christianity is going to coup the government and destroy everybody with a mass extermination, theft of money, and coup of the government, destruction. Mass extermination, mass death. Okay? 9/11, 1826. William Morgan, Joseph Smith Sr., Canandaigua, New York, 9/11, the coming forth of the Book of Mormon, the threat to America by Christians. And so 1832, Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball joined the Church of Joseph Smith. And then massively convert all of those responsible for 9/11, 1826. Except for those who went down to the south to become the Confederates. They didn't go down there. They were getting the ones who stayed in the north so that they can then join the church to destroy Joseph Smith's church. Because they know that they know that they know they know they know. And so Joseph Smith comes out in September 1832 with section 60. Yeah, section 84. 84. That we are under condemnation for not correctly understanding the Book of Mormon as missionaries. So all of those missionaries that Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball converted were lying about Joseph Smith's church. By September, Joseph was getting word that they were lying about his church, calling it the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The Book of Mormon is another testament of Jesus Christ. Yeah. And he's condemning the missionaries. And then December, they're not listening to him. They're ignoring him, hoping he goes away in jail, as they were framing and blaming him to get rid of him out of the way so that Brigham Young could take over the church. Coup it. Hello? And so in December again, that's the wheat and the tares. Missionaries are sowing tares, falsehoods about Joseph's church, calling it the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, calling the Book of Mormon another testament of Jesus Christ. Joseph Smith in 1838, in the history, said that the Church of the Latter-day Saints is being attacked by evil-disposed and designing militant Christians, lying about the church. Missionaries. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, put in by Willard Richards, the enemy, the wheat and the tares guy, the apostate, under Brigham Young. And says that Christianity in its first creed is all wrong, abominable, and corrupt. And so, 1835, Well, even 1840, 19 July 1840, Constitution hanged by a thread by Christians, the enemy, Brigham Young. Brilliant, by the way. You really need to get that original document that I have posted on Academia and footnoted for you. So on governments, we believe that governments were instituted of God for the benefit of man because it contains agency in it. Life, liberty, property. So in verse 4, we believe religion is instituted of God and that men are amenable to him and to him only. Pay attention. For the exercise of it, unless their religious opinions prompt them to infringe upon the rights and liberties of others. Do I need to go over the Strengthening Church Members Committee? But we do not, they know I know this, and yet, we do not believe that human law has a right to interfere in prescribed rules of worship to bind the consciences of men, nor dictate forms of public or private devotion. First Amendment, freedom of religion. But he says religions cannot infringe upon the rights and liberties of others, but they themselves are not to be infringed upon. Separation of church and state, Joseph Smith. That the civil magistrate should restrain crime, but never control conscience. Should punish guilt, but never suppress the freedom of the soul. We believe that all men are bound to sustain and uphold the representative governments in which they reside, respective governments, while protected in their inherent and inalienable rights. Anybody know where that comes from? No. By the laws of such governments, and that sedition and rebellion of religion are unbecoming every citizen thus protected. It's in the Constitution. You can't run for mayor of New York as another government, as another religion, Islam. And should be punished accordingly. Yeah, death penalty. And that all governments have a right to enact such laws as in their own judgments are best calculated to secure the public interest, at the same time, however, holding sacred the freedom of conscience. Thus, Trump, under the puppet strings of religion of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, is punishing for violations of religion. And so then I think we skip down to verse 7. I see religion in verse 6. The whole thing is a sentence? This is why I have run-on sentences, is because I studied Joseph Smith, who has run-on sentences. I never understood that as a kid. But yes, studying my scriptures, studying the words of Joseph Smith, I emulated him, and then it became manifested on my English papers. Teacher said, run-on sentence. And even prophetic speech, I found myself putting in my papers. And the teacher, they were confused because they said, well, this seems like the wrong verb tense to use. No, it's the exact verb tense I need to use. Because it's prophecy. I am seeing into the future about what is about to happen as it happens. Or as it happened. And so there is no tense for future tense in real time being there. And so thus, the problems I had with verb tenses. All because of Joseph Smith. And so I'm probably... human laws being instituted for the express purpose of regulating our interest as individuals and nations between man and man, and divine laws were given of heaven prescribing rules of spiritual concerns for faith and worship, both to be answered by man to his maker. We believe that rulers, states, and governments have a right and are bound to enact laws for the protections of citizens in the free exercise of their religious belief. But we do not believe that they have a right in justice to deprive citizens of this privilege or to prescribe them in their opinions, so long as a regard and reverence are shown to the laws, and such religious opinions do not justify sedition nor conspiracy. Religions. Joseph knows that religion is going to be the cause of the overthrow of the government of the United States of America and trigger World War III. There it is. The living prophets of Jesus know I know this, and they know about it too, because they're doing it. And then, verse 10. We believe that all religious societies have a right to deal with their members for disorderly conduct. Strengthening Church Members Committee, here we go. According to the rules and regulations of such societies, provided that such dealings be for fellowship and good standing. But we do not believe that any religious society has authority to try men on the right of property or life to take from them their world's goods. YouTube's community guidelines are religious-based, not constitution-based. And there Joseph Smith is condemning YouTube before YouTube was even conceived of being conceived. We don't need new laws for the internet. We already have them in the Constitution. We need to follow the Constitution and enforce the laws to not allow religion to enter into the government, to enter into businesses, to tell people you can't buy here because you're the wrong religion. You can't post on YouTube because you're criticizing the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Joseph Smith, section 134, verse 10. Look it up for yourself. The church has it. They know it. And that Oaks comes out and says, we need to stalk people online. We need to hack their computer systems to know what they're doing, to see what they're watching, and to punish them. Can't do that, Oaks. You are a seditious, conspirating terrorist. And the penalty is death. And you have accused me of it. And thus the false accusation is Deuteronomy 19, verse 19, the law of Purim. You then get to be punished. So the curse of Joseph Smith and the curse of Travis Wayne Goodsell in yesterday's video, which was immediately accepted, by the way, just like previous week. And sure enough, the cyber terrorism resumed. They will not leave me alone. Can't do it. Or to put them in jeopardy of either life or limb, or to inflict any physical punishment upon them. They can only excommunicate them from their society and withdraw them from their fellowship. That's why the church is trying to take over the whole Utah, so that you get banned from Utah, that you get banned from the church, deported, getting their kingdom back with the fall of the government. We can spy and hack, says Oaks. So, Section 85. This is how they justify it. It is the duty of the Lord's clerk, whom he has appointed, to keep a history and a general church record of all things that transpire in Zion, and of all those who consecrate properties and receive inheritances legally from the bishop, and also their manner of life, their faith and works, and also of the apostates who apostatize after receiving their inheritances. That's why they justify the Strengthening Church Members Committee, ignoring Section 132, misinterpreting this. This is why if you leave the church or are excommunicated, they still have your record right here. And they use that as a blacklist. See, because Joseph Smith is talking about apostates who are causing problems with Joseph's church. Not apostates in the terms of, wait a minute, the Book of Mormon has over 36 different plagiarized books in it. There was no religious burnover district and the year you're claiming that Joseph Smith said it happened. Joseph Smith was arrested for glass looking on March 20th, 1826. No, you can't excommunicate people who expose your crimes and sins as leaders. That's not what Joseph means here. Apostates are the ones who are lying about the church, who are hurting the members, destroying the church with a coup. Those are the apostates. And so this comes into the next one. From Liberty Jail, when the Danites framed and blamed him, got him out of the way for Brigham Young to be called the president of the Church of Jesus Christ. Right there in the Joseph Smith papers. And the church says, yeah, because that's the name of the church, Section 115. But Joseph Smith history, yeah, Joseph Smith was wrong. We corrected him. So Section 115 is not a forged document. Apostate! Murder him, YouTube! Dox him! Deny him viewing YouTube content! Deny him downloading to expose us. Section 123. And again, we would suggest for your consideration the propriety of all the saints gathering up a knowledge of all the facts and sufferings and abuses put upon them by the people of the state. That's all I'm doing. I'm legally allowed to do it. I'm even commanded to do it. I am not committing a crime by downloading. It is the church who are committing crimes by downloading, not the downloading itself. I freely, tell you guys, you can download my content if YouTube will allow you, and if you can get a system that will allow you to be able to download the upwards of 15 terabytes. Russia does it, did it. I don't know if they still do it. They sort of abandoned me after finally getting my Paleo-Hebrew research. But I told them, if you want to know about the Russian Zay, just tell me, ask me. What is the Russian Zay? We don't know. Nobody knows. We have it, and it's a symbol that we don't recognize. Well, it's Constantine's Cairo. There you go. Simple. You don't need to extort me. You don't need to threaten me. You don't need to steal from me. Just ask. I'll give it to you for free. So, yeah, then I didn't hear from them ever again after that. But the church? Nope, they've been here the whole time. And also of the property amount of damages. Yeah, the receipts. I told you, I've got the documents. They've been trying to destroy them, which have been sustained, both of character and of personal injuries as well as real property. Yeah, I told you, this is irreparable damage they've caused to me. They cannot compensate me for their cause of damage. And also of the names of the persons that have had a hand in their oppressions, as far as they can get hold of them and find them out. Yeah, D. Todd Christofferson, Russell Marion Nelson, Dallin H. Oakes, Henry B. Eyring, etc. Mark Shurtleff, Governor Cox, Chief Red, Sister Homewrecker Mendenhall, Reed Hammond, Bishop, on and on and on. Todd, my brother, the two girls that were fired for failure, Gail Miller, on and on and on. Names. I got the names. This is where I got it from. You need this for court. And perhaps a committee. Oh, a strengthening church members committee can be appointed to find out these things. To see how they're manipulating it. They're claiming that I'm the enemy when they're the enemy. And I'm doing it to expose them as the enemy. They're doing it to expose me as to shut me up and silence me, if not by murder. And take statements and affidavits, and also to gather up the libelous publications. The church has a whole website full of libelous publications. And I've downloaded that too. And I've shown them in videos for you. And YouTube says, no, you can't. Yes, I can. You can't. You can't tailor your site to the church. and all that are in magazines. Playboy was back then. The one for April 1830 was just awesome. It was found in Joseph's collection. Brucey Kimball had a copy, and he blacked it out with ink. Porn! And then to calm himself down, he went and raped one of the Mormons. In encyclopedias and in libelous histories that are published and are writing and by whom and present the whole concantation. That's exactly why I did Nelson at the beginning, you guys. Exactly. Of diabolical rascality and nefarious and murderous impositions that have been practiced upon this people. And that we may not only publish to all the world on YouTube, but to present them to Trump, the FBI, to the Attorney General, and all of their dark and hellish hue, as a last effort which is enjoined on us by our Heavenly Father before we can fully, completely claim the promise which shall call him forth from his hiding place, and also that the whole nation may be left without excuse before he can send forth the power of his mighty arm. And oops, I did the video yesterday. I had the dreams last couple of weeks. Do you not understand yet? Doom is coming because religion has taken over and is destroying it to get their kingdom. And so, what do you know? Verse 7. It is an imperative duty that we owe to God, to angels, with whom we shall be brought to stand, and also to ourselves, to our wives and children, who have been made to bow down with grief, sorrow, and care under the most damning hand of murder, tyranny, and oppression, supported and urged on and upheld by the influence of that spirit which hath so strongly riveted the creeds of Christianity. The opiate of the masses. Drop the mic.